2004, the last time NBA added an expansion team. We are now in 2026, and there are talks about adding 2 new teams to the league. What could this open up for the game of basketball going forward? What 2 cities could strike gold on getting a new NBA team? How would the expansion draft affect teams in the league currently? How would the NBA benefit off of these 2 new teams entering the league? I will be answering all these questions and more throughout the video, and make sure to stay tuned to see how the league could change for years to come. Yo, what's going on, NBA fans? My name is Raul, bringing you guys a brand new video. Today, we're going to be breaking down how the NBA would look if they added 2 brand new expansion teams to the league. I'm going to be breaking down the expansion into 5 different parts today. If you have any comments or opinions about anything I say, make sure to leave them down below, and let's get straight into the video. To start off, my first thing is, where would you add 2 brand new expansion teams? And I think there's only 2 options when it comes to this. Number 1, you bring one back to Seattle. Number 2, you give one to Vegas. My reason for Seattle is they've proven over the last couple years that they have a valuable fan base there, and they have a well-rounded market. You have the Seahawks, who just won a Super Bowl. You have the Seattle Kraken, who are brand new to Seattle and have proven to build a fan base there. You also have teams like the Sounders and the Mariners, who just made a deep push in the playoffs. Seattle has been a city to have a lot of sports success. Why not give them back the Sonics? You took them away from them, made them the Thunder, and they've been begging for them back ever since. Go give them back their team. That city deserves it. The next city to add another NBA team would be Las Vegas. And the reason I say Las Vegas, not only because it's been rumored nonstop, but it's because it's one of the biggest tourist attractions in the world. Vegas is known for their casinos, for gambling, and all this. And not only do people from America just come there, but people from all over the world come to Las Vegas to party or do whatever they want. And it's slowly become one of the biggest sport attractions in the world. You know, they just added the Las Vegas Knights there. The Oakland Raiders moved there and became the Las Vegas Raiders. You've had the Aces there now for a little while. My only downside to having a team in Vegas is the fan base is very weak over there. And I'm saying this as a Raiders fan myself. I turn on a Raiders game, they're playing in Allegiant Stadium, and the entire crowd is covered in the other team's colors. It's very frustrating, and I can see this being a problem with more and more teams being added to Vegas, just like the new baseball team, the Athletics, moving from Oakland to now Vegas once again. I would see this as a big downside if I'm the NBA, but I would also see this as a big profit. You've had the NBA Cup there for a couple years now, and you've made a lot of money from people from all over the world coming down to watch this event. Not only because they want to come and watch basketball, but because it's in Vegas. You know, you get to go party, you get to go do all of that after watching a game, and that's where they would benefit from. You know, the basketball would just be an add-on to what comes with Vegas itself, and that's why I can see the NBA adding a team there, because of all the money it would make them in the long run. Next, on how I think the expansion would affect the NBA is what it would do to the talent pool of the league. With an expansion draft comes teams having to protect only a certain amount of guys. I think the number is 8. Now with this, rosters gets very, very limited now. Now you have teams like, for example, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have such a big pool of young core guys, and now they're only limited to select so many. With them releasing some of those end-of-the-bench guys who they're still developing, that's a chance for these expansion teams to come in and take some of those guys off of that roster. Now, will that make them better or will that make them worse? That's soon to be decided. But the talent pool of the NBA will get thinner with 32 teams. It's going to be harder for guys, you know, to decide where they're going to want to sign as a free agent, or draft picks get a lot thinner, and you have to make sure you're very precise on who you take in the draft. And I think first rounders and second rounders with an expansion become a lot more valuable than they already are, which they're rarely being moved because of teams like the Thunder. So I think the talent pool with the expansion draft gets a lot thinner as it spreads out the NBA now, as you're adding two new teams who need to fill a 13-man roster. Moving on to my next part of the video is, not only would this affect the NBA itself, but I feel like it would affect college basketball a lot. College basketball is one of the most viewed sports that we have in America. And recently it's gone through a lot of issues with eligibility, you know, guys from former NBA to coming down to play college basketball once again. And this has stirred a big uproar of what is college basketball now. It's not guys coming out of high school to come prove themselves at the collegiate level now. But I think when you add 30 roster spots to the NBA, the big goal where everyone's trying to get, I think it'll help college basketball a lot, free up more opportunities for them to go recruit other guys. Now, it gives more guys out of high school to come in and be able to earn a D1, D2 level scholarship. It also adds a lot of roster spots to the G League. The G League is one of the best opportunities for these young guys to go grow and go become that NBA player they want to be. So I think adding an expansion draft, adding 30 roster spots to the league, not only it affects the NBA in a positive way, but it'll affect collegiate basketball in a positive way, giving these young talents more opportunity to grow and give them a further goal for themselves as well. Next that I have on my list is NBA teams would be able to profit so much off of it. And I'm not even talking about, jersey sales for the new teams or stuff like that, maybe expansion players getting moved. I'm talking about this would free up so much cap space for certain teams that are just stuck in that hole that they can't get out of. And for example, one of the biggest teams that I'm talking about right now on my shirt, the Sacramento Kings, they have so many bad contracts on their roster that they just can't seem to get rid of. And I think with adding 2 new teams, they would be one of the current teams in the league to benefit most off of this. They would have the option to get rid of, those certain contracts like Zach LaVine, Domantas Sabonis, and whether the expansion teams decide to pick up those players or not, it adds a lot more flexibility for these teams to move around some roster spots. Like I said before, I think it would hurt some teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder due to them having so many young pieces, but it would also benefit some teams in the league. And I think another team that could benefit off of this would be the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers just have so many dead spots in their roster when it comes to that bench group that if you get rid of some of those guys without having to give up any assets, or you just dump them, it's free money on your books now that you can go build around. So adding 2 new teams not only would benefit those 2 teams coming into the NBA or the NBA as a whole, it would benefit certain teams around the league because it allows them to free up money without getting penalized for it. And to wrap everything up, my question is, how much money and what possibilities could be opened up for the NBA as a whole? The reason I say this is because going back to the collegiate thing I said, 30 roster spots are now opened. You have all types of markets, national markets. You have everything now with possibilities of 30 roster slots being open. That's coming from foreign players, everything like that. You can have guys from all different leagues from all over the world come into the NBA and make one of those roster spots. That gets the attention of, now say you're a player from Germany. Now you have Germans watching from all over the league. Say you have someone from Serbia like Jokic come into the league. You have so many now more possibilities that comes with 2 new expansion teams. And not only do you have the national players or even the national viewers now coming in with those 2 new expansion teams, you have merch sales, ticket sales, venue sales. You have all these new things coming in that's going to make the NBA more money. Now, I don't know what this means for the NBA going forward. Maybe they can add a few things for the fans to make it more enjoyable. Maybe adding something to All-Star Weekend, or maybe it's something, a little more additions to the playoffs that we've been asking for, maybe like decals on the court. I know they've been deemed unsafe, but maybe it's just little details they can add with these new possibilities. Maybe it's adding $5 million to the cap space that gives teams that more flexibility that comes with the expansion draft. I just think there's so many possibilities that can open up for the NBA in the future if you add 2 new teams. It's gonna take a long time to get used to, as it's taken a little time for the NHL to get used to adding the Utah team now and then the Kraken as well. But I think it could be a really good change for the NBA and just new faces to see and new jerseys. I think it'll bring in a lot more viewership and a lot more benefits coming to the NBA. That's going to do it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said before, if you have any thoughts or opinions on anything I said, make sure to leave them down below. We did really good on our first 2 videos and I was very surprised, so I appreciate y'all for that. And I appreciate everyone who's been leaving comments. I'm trying my best going forward. I've been changing up a few things, so I hope you guys enjoy those changes, and I'll see you guys in the next video.